Hello, Final Fantasy Randomizer 2. So much going on tonight. My name is Hebbinks, and I am joined in the booth tonight by Amalatis, who is normally tracking but has graced us with his voice here in the commentary. How you doing tonight?
I am doing great. What about you, Hemmings?
I'm excited and it's a little bittersweet. This is the finale of the Shrug to Speed program. So, for those of you catching this live and don't know what this is all about, this is our new player program for Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. It was started up to get players who are interested in learning how to race Mystic Quest Rando. And just kind of teach them the ropes and give them ever escalating seeds and flag sets and basically give them all the tools they need to be able to do marathons or race events in the future. And we have a lineup tonight. I think all of our regular participants are foaming at the mouth in our race room tonight. Before we kick off, though, Amel, if you would like to go over some of the highlights of the flag set for tonight before we go live.
Certainly. First off, this week we are on expert logic, which means in terms of progression, it's pretty much anything goes. It's coins, but it can also be crests or some the exit tricks with the temples. Um, we also start with the sky coin this week, which means this is basically a knowledge and comfort check on whenever you want to go take on Dark King. Um, so yeah, this is the summation of everything that they've learned in that regard. Everything is randomized this week, so boxes, NPCs, battlefields. Monsters can be a little bit weaker. Bosses can be a little bit tougher as well. We also randomized the enemy scripts, so we could have trees with bosses attack and the like. We have the shortcut to Doom Castle. The overworld is also shuffled, and we also turned on the internal dungeon map. So this as well can be randomized. And we
Indeed.
have randomized spellbooks. Um, yeah, I think that those are pretty much the highlights.
Yep. And so for the randomized spellbooks, those randomizations will be applied to our companions. On stream tonight, we're featuring Mr. Galvantula and One Free Fitz, both of who are going into surprise, surprise, Volcano, because again, it rolled in Foresta. Unfortunately, Volcano is one of our frequent flyers of the starting region just because it has no weapon requirements for navigation. And it looks like both of our runners are starting off with some axes here and a Tristram. This is kind of the ideal partner to start with just because of the way the spellbooks rolled. So for tonight, brief overview. With Resistant Shuffle, the highlights here. Fire is rolled into Projectile, which means Dark King will still be susceptible to fire damage. Air rolled into Holy, which means we might get some instant kills on Jerkbird 1 and 2 and Wyvern. And Holy Weakness rolled into Fire Weakness, so we might barbecue a couple of undead enemies here and there. Earth and water flip flopped, and anything that could be poisoned can now be petrified. So some of the big highlights from the Resistant Shuffle. In terms of spellbooks, Kaylee is our big carry for tonight. She rolled Cure, Fire, Heal, Arrow, White, and Flare. White and Flare are unlocked at level 23, so only 2 quests required there. Tristram only rolled Cure, Exit, and Thunder, but he starts with Exit at level 7. So this probably will be the Tristram show for a good while until we level up our other 2 partners.
Yes, this is most likely what is going to happen. Or if we find a exit book for Benjamin, then any companion that is more powerful becomes a viable option as well.
Indeed. Unfortunately, tonight, Phoebe only rolled Arrow, Cure, and Blizzard, which Arrow is good in her hands. Dark King is susceptible to wind damage, but it's not ideal because it doesn't have a wizard version to do obscene damage like White and Flare and Meteor can do. Also, just kind of some annoying quests to level her up, even if you wanted to go that route. Ruben is our other dark horse for tonight. He rolled Cure, White, and Flare. White and Flare unlocked at level 34, so you have to do 3 quests. But his quests are substantially easier than Kaylee's tonight. For Ruben, our runners have to save 1 crystal, find someone hiding in the Alive Forest tree houses, visit mines with Ruben and return to Fireberg, and clear 14 battlefields. Not a tall order. On the other side, Kaylee, you have to collect 20 refreshers, defeat Jen, save Crystal Fire, and give Elixir to poison Kaylee's mom. So that's a full Tree Wither quest line, a full dive into Lava Dome, and you have to fish out 20 refreshers. So a bit of a tall order, but at least you can only do two of those quests to get her online offensively. HP wise, you'll have to do a couple more struggle buses. And it looks like our runners have found a sword here. It looks like the Knight Sword has been found over on Free Fitz' side.
Yep, it was the first chest at the entrance of Cavern.
Very nice. And it looks like the internal shuffle not being too mean to our runners. Cupid Locket there is... That's going to be huge. That's like a huge safety blanket for me personally. I'm assuming the runners also feel the same way, because that is not being able to be confused is a huge sigh of relief. Blind is okay. It just means you'll be able to body block. But progression wise,
Yeah.
I'm not seeing any coins yet.
Nope, me neither. So it's either inside Focus Tower, or it could be in Pazuzu, maybe.
Yeah, P Tower is looking like the place. Neither of our runners have any explosives to navigate the rest of Winter Cave or Claw, and they don't have any explosives to navigate Bone Dungeon either. So for now, it looks like we don't have a cheeky Focus Tower. We are being pigeonholed into going to P Tower, which for some of our newer runners, this has not been a place of joy. This has been a place of a little bit of frustration with the way that it can shuffle up with all of its entrances. I think every floor has at least 3 or 4 entrances. So that makes the internal shuffle even more arduous sometimes, especially here on floor 6, like we're seeing over on Galvantula side.
Yes. Also, though, silver lining for this very seed, we do have an exit Tristram, so whenever they feel lost, they can just bail out the dungeon and restart fresh from the entrance.
Indeed. And I think we're fishing just to kind of peek all the floors with red chests. So we've seen floor 3, floor 6. We need to see, hopefully Jerkbird's not hiding anything. I mean, he's not logically required yet, no explosives. So I imagine that even if they did find the explosives to fight the Jerkbird, they would much rather just dip and do all their other checks than take him on. But yeah, we still need to see the armory in floor 1. Need to see what floor 2 is holding in floor 4.
Exactly. We also saw on their way up, both runners picked up Meteor, so that's already some early power for Ben. And I think water rolled into Earth, so it can still be pretty useful in the long run.
Indeed. I wonder if Galvantula's dipping out to go get some shopping money to fish for a hint from our hint NPC. That might be a viable strategy there, especially if they're hinting for any sort of explosives. I would buy that for 125 GP and then rush that down if possible, just to give me a little bit of direction here. We'll see how that plays out.
I'd say either a claw or bombs right now is what we're looking for. Preferably bombs, because that would clear all of the bone dungeon.
Interesting, the Phoebe trade here. I didn't see Galvantula grab an exit book.
Me neither. Although
Maybe going for the offense with the arrow.
yeah, I mean, another possibility could be Medusa gating the progression.
True.
Or the Phoebe check. There we have it.
A smart play by Galvantula. It didn't even cross my mind to make that check.
Yes, we do have NPCs and Battlefield as prioritized, I believe, on this flag set.
Yep, and it looks like there was a mine up there, quite a few battlefields, and Ice Pyramid, which the large majority of can be explored since we have the sword in our possession. So with how dense that location is, I'm not surprised Galvantula is eyeballing that and going, we could go there. We could definitely go there. Ooh, nice find on the Mobius crest there on Galvantula's side. Opening up a lot of warps.
Yes, I believe Mobius is the most frequent warp of them all, but I could be wrong on that.
No, definitely. I believe that is correct. I missed that said a coin. I
Yeah, I
didn't
think I saw
see what it
sand
was.
coin. I think.
So not enough money on Galvantula's side, but definitely now that we know that there's a coin available, and we're going to pick Tristan back up to go ahead and get that exit availability. After we get some explosives, might be making a trip to Bone Dungeon really quick. Rope bridge, pretty quick.
Yep. Quick 2 checks.
And unfortunately, rolling nothing there, but quick in and out because of Tristram. So Battlefield's here. Mines isn't exactly ideal, but we do have some shopping money availability over here. Plenty of them, too. See if we find a 2 or 3. There's a 3. We take that.
Yep. It looks like it's the single enemy slime hedgehogs, I think.
Indeed. Let's see if we can spy how much cash we're going to get from the reward here. Meanwhile, Fitz looks like to be taking the other route of confronting Medusa. I guess trying to get some levels to potentially take that on, not realizing that Phoebe's an available option for a quest check here. We'll see how that plays out. There could be something good under Medusa as well.
Exactly. Although, I think for the more, I want to say like people that have been doing the randomizer, it's not uncommon for NPCs to be excluded from the pool. But I believe the Shrug to Speed program, I don't think we ever excluded the NPCs from the checks.
Yeah, I think the worst we did was include them, which means they had a chance to have something good, but they could just hand you junk as well, unfortunately. But I think that was the worst we did to our runners during the program. Ooh, she is quite the nasty one, and I don't think she's able to be paralyzed either. So this might be a dead check here. The grind would not be worth the time sink here. Meanwhile, Galvantula picking up their sand coin, having more access available now. And doing some seed shopping. Very nice, very nice.
Yeah. But keeping some money for the Windia NPC.
Yep, and making advantage of that NPC check right there for our hint bot. Looks like Blizzard was available as a hint, and we said, no, thank you. I'm not paying for that. Unfortunate, getting blocked at Pyramid by Claw Check. But thankfully, we have progression in the form of Sand Coin.
I don't think Fitz saved right before he engaged Medusa, but I know he's made like some other saves before that. So
yeah, thankfully I don't imagine there was too many red. Okay, he did make a safety save right before the fight, so at least there's the availability to bail out there. I think he sees kill here, which would be nice. Ooh, look at that seed farm on Galvantula's side.
Yeah, we have some pretty easy seeds. That chest has been very generous with seeds throughout this, throughout the whole Shrug to Speed.
Yeah, for some reason it just during the whole program it's like, you want seeds here, let's give you a seed farm. So Galvantula taking a couple seconds here to farm up as many seeds as possible before diving into their next check locations. Looks like we have a couple temples. There's Lava Dome available, of course, and it looks like Mount Gale. Still no claw though. There we go. We found Windia in a live forest.
And it looks like Fids decided to go pursue other avenues, which is the smart choice in this case. You don't want to bang your head for too long against a fight that you can't really win at this stage.
Indeed. And I'm wondering if And there's Sun Coin. So there's all four coins available on Galvantula's side. Literally, just the world is their oyster, in a matter of how lucky / quickly they can complete all the objectives they need to get in go mode. Meanwhile, it looks like Fritz is taking this battlefield. It looks like maybe for some money and um, some XP. Might be trying to grind up to take on Medusa, but I'm wondering if it's clicked that Phoebe's an available option for a check yet. Might not be the case. We'll see. Hopefully that does settle in, because the sooner that choice is made, the sooner that um, Fitz can get online and start checking other locations.
Yes, it's easy sometimes to forget an NPC check. Whenever that happens to me, I try to go back through all the location and try to remember: did I do the NPCs? Did I forget? Did I fade something? Was I missing an item when I visited a location?
Looks like so. It looks like Phoebe's been picked up. Might be referencing some notes here. I know that Fitz mentioned that they were on the newer side of the program. They hadn't been able to participate too much. But Fitz is also known to be an incredible runner from a lot of other Final Fantasy randomizer communities. So the speed of which Fitz has picked up this rando is honestly very impressive. The same thing could be said for all of our participants in the program. Genuinely, like Leaf, Galvantula, Noob Tree, Akuhesh, all fantastic runners who started off a little like skittish and a little, apprehensive, but have very much gotten comfortable with the randomizer now. So I'm glad that they've taken to this like fish in water, and have really started to show their expertise in the rando.
Yes, there's been some great participation from everybody in the program, both Shruggers and companions. It was fun to see all the activity in the Discord. Everybody creating seeds, sharing them, commenting on them.
So now that we've seen some more of the overworld here, what is your speculation? Let's hear your opinion, Aku. Let's sorry, Amo. What is your guess on
And
the
there's a
partner that
claw.
they're good? Yep, there is a claw. Finally, what is your guess on who they're going to take to Dark King?
Personally, I would
Like, if you were running
favor,
these flags, who would you take?
if I was running, like, I would hope for Kaylee. But if I could get, like, there's a little bit of overlap between Kaylee and Ruben, and there's also the fact that we're on internal shuffle. So I would hope for to complete Kaylee first, but I would settle for Ruben easily as well with this flag set.
That's fair. Yeah, no, and I mean, Ruben is unfortunately the least reliable of the partners, just because he has no immunities and only fire resist. But hey, he's a body, and if he could throw out damage, and reliably so, that's really all you need, especially since the Jerkbird and Wyvern are both susceptible to holy damage. If you get a tier 4 Ruben set up pretty quickly, you could run the gauntlet in one shot literally every single refight on your way to King, and then just have a body blocker. There's our girl Kaylee hanging out in the Libra Temple. Make a note of that. Yeah, sometimes damage is damage. And sometimes you just need a friend to go with you.
Yep. Sometimes you just need someone that will take the hit for you, and sometimes you need firepower. And Ruben can serve both, but if you only need somebody to just take the hit, Ruben is perfectly serviceable in that role.
Indeed. Getting a nasty formation here in the Aquaria region. There is a battlefield there that has goodies, but salamanders and redcaps are not a fun fight for whatever reason. They're just nasty whenever you roll them. So they're an unfun encounter. They have a lot of status ailments that Tristram is not immune to. So you can find yourself being paralyzed and locked there for a good while. Multi-key being found here in Lava Dome, though. We already backdoored into Mega Man's house, so we already have that checked, but that does open up another warp avenue to our runners should they go back through Fireberg.
You can see Fitz here opting to keep Phoebe, probably for a little bit more firepower while he's clearing these fights for now.
Yeah, level 15 packing arrow. Now she's got a decent magic stat. She's got AoE damage. She's got charges that deal that damage reliably. No real reason to swap her out unless you really wanted to make it take advantage of exit here. Galvantula finding a steel shield, not what we want to find, but it's what we got. And at least the check has been made. Another Fireberg battlefield. Hopefully this isn't Jin's and Ifrit's and Stenos. Oh, we got trees. Good stuff.
And projectile. Projectile rolled into axe, so Tristram can deal with these trees easily.
Can actually do some damage and earn his keep here if he ever outspeeds the enemy. Man, these are some fast trees. And I'm surprised at how low level Galvantula is at this point still. I think it's 8, 9.
I see 8.
Yeah, so Fitz has the one up in terms of levels, but Galvantula has definitely explored more of the map and made more checks. However, if you do get level gated or encounter gated, this can go either way. Fitz now realizing the heartbreak that is claw locked pyramid. So I imagine that's a quick in and out. No explosives. Are we going to Jin? No, we can't even use the bucket. We don't have a claw.
Yes. At least there are some preventions built into the randomizer to prevent ourselves from getting locked.
Yeah, shout outs to all the day one playtesters who are in the credits of the game who definitely helped find all those, like, hey, if I go here, I get soft lock kind of things. So, fun fact, buckets were a soft lock spot. Fun fact, these doors were actually not able to be opened from the backside when Ham first started making the rando. You can only engage the dialogue with them from the front side. So if you warped into a location, let's say Fireberg region, and tried to leave Focus Tower to go to another section, you had to use that warp again because you couldn't open the River Coin door from behind. So Ham had to program that interaction to be able to be done from the other side, like any normal NPC. An exit book has been found, so we can ditch Tristan now. Get him out of our party. And a heal book. Not as good. What is this? Man, Gal has it out for the vendor. Venus Shield, I'd buy that. I'd buy that in a heartbeat.
Me too. 200 gold. Well spent.
Yeah. It's not an Aegis Shield, but paralysis is annoying, and I'd much rather not have to deal with it at all. Picking up Best Girl here for the seed on Fitz's side. She's only level 7, but that axe does work.
It packs a punch. That's for certain.
Indeed, but will it be enough to get through this encounter? Paralysis is the major hiccup here. Meanwhile, Galvantula going through level forest here, getting some goodies. We got Venus Key, we got Liber Crest, Noble Armor. These are all nice items to have. And it looks like we might be battlefield locked in terms of the good stuff. Yay, more trees. Fitz making use of some of these defense strats, opting to be the meat shield for Kaylee, trying to puzzle their way through this fight. And unfortunately, these salamanders are just pumping out more damage than he can manage at the moment. Thankfully able to run away. Yeah, that too is tempting, but if you don't have the means to get through the encounter, it's best to kind of leave and come back to it later.
Yes, caution can be key at moments.
Ooh, we found a nice farm spot for Kaylee there.
Yes, that would be I would be farming that right away.
And it's even faster with the crest warp. So every time you crest warp in and out of a location, your brown box is reset. So realistically, I mean, Fitz is going to check out Windia because getting to Windia is nice. But realistically, you can just use that Mobius crest warp and go back and forth instead of having to leave and come back. And I think you might save a few steps doing that. But Fitz is going to explore Windia, get as many checks under his belt as possible, gets his T-Rock, and maybe we'll see the Soda Pop farm here. Gaia Armor for Galvantula. That's another piece of the comfort puzzle that is gearing up for Dark King, being cursed with insomnia now, not able to be put to sleep.
Although the interesting thing with this flag set, because we're randomizing the all the Gauntlet and Dark King's attack together, so sometimes you might not even need these resistances at the end. So I think this is why, like, I believe I call it like the comfort seed. So sometime,
Mm-hmm.
like, do you want to take the risk that you're gonna need or not the Aegis Shield or the Gaia Armor, or do you want to take it a bit safer just in case it's a problem?
Indeed. Now, with exit available, our runners could make a quote unquote risky play, then get brick walled by King as long as they make a save before him, and then exit out and go get what they need now that they have the information available to kind of gear up appropriately. But I find that, more often than not, runners will prep prior and then not want to leave once they get into Doom Castle.
Yes, I think the one time in a race context I've seen going in and out of castle was in SGL, where
Indeed.
someone they went for Dark King and then they went out just to get an in to reset their spell charges. Meanwhile, Fitz making their way to their first claw, which was the Charm Claw. And Galvantula making their way through the Bone Dungeon, picking up some goodies along the way, and we have nothing behind um, the boss, so we're not even going to engage him. Although that could have been an easy save one crystal quest for Ruben. And Ruben was holding up our white spell. That's some neutral firepower, good on everything. So always good to have that under our belt. Meanwhile, Fitz is starting into the tree, poking, see what is in there. And finding a lower level claw always feels a little bad when that happens. Tree can be a little bit daunting at first. It is quite big, and with the internal shuffle, can get a little bit lost every now and then. Meanwhile, Galvantula picking up a Ruben. So probably mine is his next stop.
looks like Fitz going into tree, realizing he
Yep.
doesn't have claw to go. I mean, dragon claw to go all the way through, though, just trying to get as many checks as possible.
Yep. He went as far as he could right now. Meanwhile, Galvantula picked up a Reuben and is going to mines now.
And yeah, it looks like weighing both the options, just like prepping Ruben just in case, but also knocking out something for Kaylee. Now, did we see Fitz do a refresher farm yet?
I haven't seen him do that yet, which is a shame. Like, personally, it's probably the first thing I would have done as soon as I've seen that this very early chest in the Alive Forest had refreshers in them. Personally, I would have farmed them out right away to get that quest out of the way now.
Yeah, it looks like it would take about 4 trips in. He was at 12 or 10. Yeah, going all in on brown boxes might cost a bit of time, though. Thinking that he could get away with this encounter, but man, the red cap salamander combo and paralysis especially, like, I don't know why, but this formation either rolls sleep or paralysis every time, and it's just not fun.
Yes, I think even vanilla they have some nasty status ailment by default.
Yeah, they are not a fun time to encounter at all. And Galvantula, pretty low on the HP front for this Jin fight. Rocking level
Maybe
11 and 7.
Yeah, and no, I mean, it is randomized script, so Jin might not have fire attacks. So,
Indeed, but it looks to be...
but he doesn't have a helm for the fire resist. I think it's the only resistance he's missing right now.
Yeah, and even still, with the Randomizer in effect, sometimes big damage can come out of Jin regardless. So, I don't know. I'm interested to see if a level 7 companion could get him through this. I hope so, but it might not be the case. Let's see what it turns out to be here. At least seeds are on deck, and we have Meteor and White to mitigate a lot of the, like, to make up for the lack of HP. Flare being available from that Ice Pyramid battlefield at the top there. A great reward. I'm sure Fitz feels ecstatic about having some damage available, but doesn't feel good about the time sink involved.
Yes, true. Meanwhile, I think while you were temporarily away, the Tristram check in Bone Dungeon was the white spell.
Ooh, very nice. And did
So
both our runners do
Galvantula
that,
have nope, only Galvantula only so far.
Gotcha. So Flare and White both available on the table. I'd be surprised if Galvantula even bothers going back for Flare at this point, seeing that White is on the table and is an available tool. And I'm trying to think, what other prep would our runners need? At this point, it's just companion levels and a little bit more equipment. I think having a life book would be a great comfort to our runners. I think having White or Flare, which both of them now have, would be on my checklist. And then some armor and levels. And that's about it. Am I missing anything?
No, that looks about what is missing, or at least that's what I would be looking for at this stage. So comfort level on defenses, preferably life, at least cure, although it can be done without either. It can just get very scary.
Yeah,
And companion
sketch.
level, obviously. I've done some cureless, lifeless Darking, and it can get pretty scary at every turn, every now and then.
Oh yeah, for sure. You definitely have to be comfortable with your defense strats and knowing like your HP thresholds and how much damage is being tossed out, so you could prep a life from your partner to heal. It is, that or just banking on auto being very reliable in terms of someone going down and auto picking you right back up as soon as you go down. So meanwhile, Galvantula looks to be full diving pyramid, or at least as much as they can. They're looking for some explosives. Oh, and they do have explosives. They have jumbos. So they have everything they need to make this dive.
In terms of exploration, we're missing Claw and Megas.
Yeah, and honestly, claws, they'll lock out. I mean, Dragon Claw itself will lock out Tree, Mount Gale, and some sections of P Tower. But realistically, any claw and any bomb besides Megas will get you through most of what you need check wise, unless there's just like something really locked behind those two. Picking up Ruben here. Maybe? Thinking about it.
Okay. Probably thinking about it with the quests. Nope. Yes. Maybe. No. Nope. For now.
Fitz very much embodying their Ben sprite and being a little cat-like with that decision there. And there's our Dragon Claw hanging out in Ice Pyramid. So all that's missing right now in terms of exploration is Megas.
Meanwhile, Fitz going to level forest.
Ooh, Tree Wither hint. Spencer's Cave. So Wakewater being on our checklist if we want to go ahead and check Spencer's Cave, get to see what is in the Venus key chest, see what Spencer's handing out, see what's on the upper. I haven't even looked and see what's on this upper half of the Frozen Continent. Exit being found on Fitz's side. I bet that feels great being able to ditch Tristram for forever now.
Yep. I somehow doubt he'll go back for the Tristram check at this point. Though we never know.
Indeed. And it's always, I mean, we haven't commented much on Galvantula's side of things. Hey, Wakewater instantly being found there. That is a great payoff. Not too much going on Galvantula's side besides just having to deal with the frustration of Fireberg tier enemies in Ice Pyramid. Like the narrow corridors, the forced encounters through most of the hallways here, and Fireberg tier enemies just being a tough nut to crack a lot of the times at this level range without having reliable offense makes a lot of these encounters take a lot longer than I feel like our runners want to have to be dealing with.
Yes. Meanwhile, Fitz taking the walk down to Spencer, since we have exit, it's an easy way back out.
You gotta love only having to make half the trips and then just being able to warp out. Saves a lot of travel time there. Pokey stick at the bottom of Ice Pyramid. Doesn't feel good, especially since we already had a pokey
And
stick.
what is it? Spencer's, the elixir, and the three withers together.
Wow. So that is a Kaylee check online, basically next to each other. We know where level forest is. And we know where Windia is.
Yeah, we know where Foresta, Windia, and the level forest are. So.
And we get our best helmet as a reward for our full dive here into Ice Pyramid. We haven't even finished yet. But that Apollo helmet is going to bring a lot of comfort to Galvantula. And I think at this point it's just fishing for life, maybe, I want to say, in the rest of the quest to either level up Ruben or Kaylee.
Yes. Yeah, power-wise, I think Galvantula is at a more than correct spot in terms of offense.
And there's that life book offering the safety blanket.
So we have everything. Now it's just getting comfortable level and a companion ready to do this.
Indeed, and I would have bought that hit for that Aegis shield. Honestly speaking, I mean, I'm only going to use the money for seeds, and if I really need to, I'll dupe them. Anyways, keeping Ruben at level 7, interesting choice. I guess Gal feels comfortable soloing Jin now, given the couple extra levels in the armor set that he has now. Meanwhile, Fitz going for these battlefields, getting all prepped up, kind of gauging it, see where things lie. Galvantula just kind of keeping Ruben on triage for himself and for Ben until Meteor can do all the heavy lifting here. I have not seen either runner go back and check in on Kaylee. Fitz grabbing Tristram here, though. He's a pretty able body. He's got over 1,000 HP, so, I mean, he is a fast meat shield now. I wonder if that's the reason for the pickup here. Or going to go make bone dungeon checks.
With the bombs, bone dungeon is usually very quick to be cleared. So while going there, why not bring Tristram with you?
Indeed. Gal making their way through that fight. Getting arrow as a reward from Ruben, and this will level up Ruben to the next tier.
Yes, just need to take him back to Fireberg.
And that also gets us a level on Kaylee as well.
Opting to go P-Tower.
With Ruben at level 7, this really isn't that bad. Everything in here is going to be forested tier. Anyways, Jumbos will be more than enough.
And with, I believe, progression through here was locked behind the claw.
Yeah, it's like they had access to like 1 or 2 floors, but then they were claw locked. Jerkbird on floor 4 here. So 4 floors cleared out of chest 2, not having anything interesting. I don't think I saw anything when I peeked 3. I did not get a good chance to do that, though.
Galvantula saving Norma.
For the fans. Gotta save her for the fans. Ooh, Charm Locket, not what we want to see out of that Venus Key chest here in North Focus Tower. Seeds, though, not bad. I wouldn't call that a farmable spot by any means, but it's definitely nice to get free seeds whenever you see them.
Yes, we take those when they come by. Well, Galvantula seemingly knocking out those quick, easy checks that we couldn't access earlier because we didn't have claws and bombs.
And it looks like we found our treehouse friend. This is looking more and more like a pickup Ruben and Go seed.
Although, if Fitz went back to Alive Forest to farm the refreshers and then just beelines the 3 weather quest, he could have a 23 Kaylee very quickly now.
Yeah, indeed. He could have 23 Kaylee on deck, and you know, it might be a little bit of a hike. But with that kind of firepower between what Fitz has and what Kaylee has, clearing out Lava Dome to save Crystal Fire would not be a tall order. Or Jin, for that matter.
Yes, white would take care of both of those problems fairly easily, and you could even go on a Madam President's trap. Just protect Kaylee as she deals the damage, and you deal through the Jin and the Hydra fight.
Yeah, especially if there's anything that's throwing out confusion or paralysis. Now, if it's all damaged, Kaylee's set. Like even if something petrification rolls out, after you get Kaylee up to tier 3, she has petrification immunity. So she is by far like the most defensively set out of all of our party members. I mean, she has a trade off with Phoebe. I think Phoebe has paralysis immunity at high tier, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so as well. I mainly remember none of them resist confusion, and yeah, Kaylee brings the added benefit of the petrification resist.
Yeah, Fitz using this as their as their refresher farm here in this chest here in Volcano. Not a bad backup choice. I think probably forgot about that one in the Alive Forest, but now has met the level up criteria for Kaylee. Getting access to that heal and arrow book will definitely give him a little bit of extra offense there as they go through. Nice refresher farm here. Oh, unfortunate. Tree houses don't restock brown boxes from like temple warps because I think they're on the same like map set. So tree houses and temples don't technically count as leaving a section, like leaving an area and coming back. So
Yeah, no, they
Galvantula will have
don't.
to walk all the way
Sadly,
out, but still not a terrible walk, all things considered. Get some good muscle memory practice here for Cage Temple. And then we are going to deep fry this giant skeleton. This is not going to be a long fight at all.
Skeleton didn't have anything behind him when Galvantula went in earlier.
Ooh, even better. We don't even have to fight him. Let's go.
Yeah, we don't even have to spend time with him.
Saving all the time. There's our giant's axe. I gave that to the wrong person. My mistake. And Galvantula coming back for his revenge. He will be rewarded with Flare. So let's see. 23 Kaylee, Flare, level 14. I would say maybe like 4 more levels on Ben. And I'd maybe start thinking about taking a shot at Doom Castle at 45 minutes in.
Yeah, 18 with this type of flags starts is what I would even personally consider a comfortable level to start the gauntlet.
Not 40 minute completion. We have no idea what's waiting for us in Doom Castle, but about 45 minutes and I'd start hedging my bets and be like, maybe I can make this. And especially since I have exit on the table. It's like, I mean, if I get bodied, I just leave. No big deal. Especially, I love coming in from the backside of the moon helmet check door on those boulders. That's like chef's kiss. Like, I don't even have to worry about that being locked out behind megas. It's just now not even a consideration. It's like I can do all of Lava Dome now. Especially since I think the life chest was a brown box. So there's literally nothing in here that Galvantula can't check. Might as well make the dive, get Kaylee at least up to 34. If he really wants, we know, because we have the commentator's perspective, that Tree Wither and Elixir are right next to each other. If he finds Wake Water and goes into Spencer's cave, that is Super Kaylee unlocked.
Or if he finds megas first.
Indeed.
Because he could come in from the backside after freeing the ship. Although I don't know if expert logic takes that loop into account.
I believe it does. Any of the quote unquote backdoor entrances or like warp entrances that you could take out of logic, expert does try to factor in, if I'm not mistaken.
Meanwhile, Fitz being rewarded with an Excalibur for battling the Minotaur.
Did not download the game info text page, so having to check in game for what the quests are. I highly recommend, if you have a second monitor available, cracking open that text file and just leaving it open the whole run. It saves so much time versus opening the game info screen. That being said, the game info screen is fantastic, and my hat's off to Wild Ham for even thinking to make it and going through the work of making it, because it functionally is great. It's just being able to glance over really quick is infinitely faster than going through a menu.
Yeah. When running a seed on your own, the game info screen does like an excellent job at providing the information you need. But if I'm racing or speed running a seed, I will also have this information on hand on a separate screen.
Indeed. So at this point, I guess we're just looking to level up ourselves and Kaylee. Yeah, it's just getting Kaylee online. I think both of our runners are settled in with her. They're trying to take into account all of her objectives, and then just trying to get as many levels as possible before they go ahead and go to the end.
Yep. Fitz should have a 23 Kaylee whenever he gets to Windia and finding his Gaia armor. Always nice to see.
Yep, and these battlefields are doing double duty. Not only are they getting Fitz more equipment that he needs before he goes to the end, but also getting that XP to level up. These aren't terrible fights so far in the terms of they're not difficult. They're not offering a ton of XP either, but we still have 3 times scaling on, so you're still getting a decent chunk every fight.
Yes, and they're not that scary, but they are in the Windia region, and I believe it does scale the fights a little bit based on the map location.
Thankfully, no. So
Oh,
for
okay, so I
Battlefield
was wrong on that.
specifically, they are at their vanilla strength. Thank goodness. Now, every other enemy in dungeons, yes, they are scaled to their location. So if you go into Bone Dungeon in Windia, there's going to be Windia tier enemies waiting for you with these settings turned on. But the battlefields are excluded from those balance settings. So thankfully, these Aquaria frogs aren't super swole behind the scenes and aren't ready to wreck you. They're just Aquaria frogs. Speaking of wrecking shop, though, Galvantula just cranking away at those flares. Just doing work here. With how long we've gone, I don't think we're going to see tier 4 Kaylee on Galvantula's screen. I think he's going to get her tier 3 and then cut and run. Maybe get a couple more levels. We'll see. That is the big lizard down. Meanwhile, Fitz going to go hand off the elixir. That is tier 2 Kaylee unlocked for him. All he really needs to do is pick his poison. Either go save the Crystal of Fire or go defeat Jin. Jin being the faster of those two options there. And then he's also got tier 3 Kaylee unlocked, and it's basically in go mode minus some levels. And it looks like we're going to... It looked like we were going to mines. And we're going to see... No, I'm going to get trolled on all my all my attempts to commentate. Mind change here. No, we're going to go to mines, go to Jin.
Yep, looks like mines. Meanwhile, Galvantula starting the climb for Focus Tower.
Yep, taking some of these optional fights here to get this last couple levels here before going up the gauntlet. Will not be able to instant kill Wyvern or Zuh with life just because Kaylee's only at level 34. Let's see if we go for exit or Dragon Claw strats on Rex here. Nope, just double flare. Just raw damage. Just throwing out raw damage. All right, that works too. See, the way I play, I would have thrown in a cheeky little Dragon Claw hit there just to see if it would have procced. Ooh, unfortunate. Ooh, missing the coin toss there. There we go. There's Dragon Claw doing work.
We love to see it when it happens.
Yep, technically the quickest way to kill any enemy because it doesn't have any animations. None of the numbers pop up. There's just boom, dead, moving on with life. Golem here.
Opting for the same with Golem, taking him down the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Gal is avoiding doing exit kills just to make sure that he gets enough XP before King. Oh, that is the rudest placement of Aegis Shield I've ever seen. Next to being behind Zuh.
I mean, it counts, but it is mean.
Yeah, they're putting it in the boss fight tower. Technically, there's no logical requirements for any of the pieces of equipment. So, yeah, they could be here. It's just you never want to see them. Lifebook can be here too. I've seen Lifebook in Doom Castle, and that is an annoying kind of move there. And hello, Raiders from Final Fantasy Randomizer Prime. Thank you for joining us here on our finale of the Shrug to Speed program. You are catching two of our Shruggers on their final flag for the program here, racing their way to the end here. Galvantula in a bit of a lead right now, but we don't know if everything's going to be said and done until we get to the big man himself, the big man being Dark King, and Zuh being a bit of a gatekeeper here. We're seeing a lot of big damage come out, a lot of 500s, and a couple crits.
Indeed, the gauntlets, and especially Zuh. We do call him Jerkbird for a reason, and Dark King is the great equalizer, but Galvantula does have a considerable lead at the moment.
Indeed. I wonder if things had worked out differently in Fitz or Galvantula had found their all tier 4 conditions sooner, if they would have spent the extra time on Kaylee, if it meant saving time on these fights. Ooh, not timing out correctly the reflect there. It does normally would have played off, but Kaylee is so fast. She outsped Zuh. That does happen sometimes. That kick doing a lot of damage. I don't know if Gal's going to live through this. This might be a wipe. Yep. Another kick to the face, and that's a reset. Unfortunately, you hate to see it, but sometimes the speed timing, especially with the randomization of stats, can really throw you off your rhythm unless you've gone through the first cycle and kind of worked out the turn order of the first Psy Shield. I generally play pretty conservatively there, just so that situation doesn't happen where I have a team member KOing themselves with a reflect.
Especially with this seed, we have projectile rolled into axe. So even a swing of the great axe is nothing to scoff at in this context.
Correct. Easily a safe over 1,000 damage. Now, is it going to match up to a flare cast? No, it's half the damage, but I would much rather take a weakness shot than potentially get hit in the face with my own flare. But now that the timing's been worked out, I don't imagine Gal's going to get caught a second time, and this is a pretty thin chicken, all things considered.
Meanwhile, Fitz defeated Jin and now has a 34 Kaylee.
Are we going to see tier 4, or is he running to the end? Let's see. Looks like we're going to the end. We're an hour in. Right abouts. Yeah, we're just going to make the dive. After seeing what we've seen, I think the only rough spot might be Zuh, HP wise. And even still, they're going to get like 3 levels calling up this tower. So they should be right about Galvantula, maybe 16. Um, might, nope, not even taking the optional fights, just going straight in at 14. Brave.
I can respect the bravery as well. Though, like when you're on your own, it usually doesn't, like, time doesn't really matter. But when it's a race, around 45-minute, depending on the type of seed, sometimes even earlier, you have to start thinking like other people are probably already climbing by this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not to mention you've got that race time GG room just staring at you in the face if you have a second monitor. Sometimes I like to hide mine just so I don't get any race nerves, but it's there menacingly, reminding you if anybody's finished ahead of you. Fitz also opting for the full flare strats, not dipping into Dragonclaw, but doesn't have Dragonclaw. So can't even make that play. Only having 2 charges here, a Kaylee down, both of her no life either. Wow, this is rough. Ooh, unfortunately doesn't win the 50-50 there. Going for a quick reset. Hopefully we'll have some better luck on the instant deaths there. Exit is available. Rex can technically be exited away. You can Phantom Zone your problems just straight away if you want. But I think Fitz wants the XP here. Meanwhile, Phase 2 King...
Yeah, and Fitz opting to defend Kaylee as she's doing the work and making sure she can do it.
Yeah, not a bad strat at all, especially if you lose a 50-50 on Ben. It's just Ben going down. Whereas if Kaylee goes down, you've lost your life, literally. So, I mean, Phase 2 King here, spitting out hot fire, but aside from that, that's like the most damaging attack I've seen come out. Nothing too spooky yet. Are we going to see the big stone man go to the Phantom Zone?
It doesn't look like it.
Nope, again, opting to take down Golem the old-fashioned way. Thankfully, we know that Golem's not packing too much and isn't too heavy. A couple flares here will do the work here just fine. Phase 3 King looking like a bit of a pushover. I've seen a rib being thrown out. I haven't seen anything else big. The 330 is not the end of the world. What was that, a kick or a punch? I couldn't see.
I missed the name of the attack as well.
Oh, there's a double drain there. It does some damage, but I mean, again, nothing you can't handle with this setup. Dark King being cured into Phase 4 here. Looking like we're going to see time here on Galvantula's side pretty quick. Oh no, Kaylee's been put to sleep. She doesn't have sleep immunity like Phoebe. Thankfully, we have all of our immunities on Ben's side. We're just going to keep pushing until Kaylee gets hit and woken up, which, honestly, the gentlest of wake-ups over there on Kaylee's side. 8 damage. I'll take that wake-up any day of the week. And then it's time for Mr. Galvantula. Coming in with a 1 hour, 1 minute, 52-second time. Get your GGs in for Mr. Galvantula. Coming in third tonight in our community race, we've had 2 other runners finish before him. We have Leaf finishing with a 48-54 and Noob Tree 87 finishing with a 50-21. 2 very, very respectable times. And also just 2 very good performances here on screen as well. Again, these are all new runners. They've had 4 weeks to scale up to what are genuinely some difficult flags I cooked up for week 4. This is something that you would see in a much more competitive / like more difficult kind of environment in terms of racing the game. And I think all of the runners have just put out a tremendous showing in learning these flag sets and moving along with the program that they have during this entire time. So I'll see if I can't get Galvantula into the Discord here for a post-race interview while we go ahead and cheer on Fitz, who himself listed himself as a baby shrugger, making some decent progress here. Throwing out those big rocks at a jerk bird, I would love to do that too. Just any sort of damage on the big meanie. We're
Yeah,
getting
I
stomped
think
on though.
I think Za was the bigger blocker in this climb than King was, I believe.
Yeah, I think out of the four, Zuh definitely doing the big damage out of the four refights. Wyvern, bit of a pushover. And King, honestly, kind of free once you got into phase 3. There was like one or two attacks that you kind of had to look out for, but once you got to phase 3 or 4, he was basically free. So this was a flag set, or this was a flag that you could definitely like play aggressively, go in early, and be rewarded for that, which is I think how Leaf and Noob Tree played it out. They basically got tier 2 Kaylee and some of their equipment, and they're like, let's risk it for the biscuit, and they were rewarded for that early risky play. That is my speculation, though. I can't comment on how those two ran the flags, but looking at the times, that is kind of what I would surmise. 23 Kaylee not being an option for Leaf. I'll be interested to see how they played it later. Ruben was also a very quick option. Yep, 41 Ruben. That was the other thing. I was commenting early on. I was like, Ruben's quick. You save a crystal. It's like basically you smack Rex in the face. You find the tree house. You do the mine, and you crank out some battlefields. Bada bing, bada boom. You got a big boy with no immunities, but he does damage. You basically have a body. Kaylee's being a bit more of a time sink in terms of objectives. So you really had to weigh your options. And if you go 41 Ruben, you could life down Wyvern and Zuh, saving yourself a headache here on this fight specifically. Oh no, a crit reset. You hate to see it, but that is exactly what you can get sometimes with the jerk bird. Yeah, Zuh is one of the two great equalizers of the rando. Unfortunately, he's either a thin chicken or a big fat turkey getting in the way. And buddy, let me tell you, when he decides to be a turkey, you're in for a rough time. I've had I've had Zuh with a Dark King moveset, phase 3 specifically. So then you
Oh
have the
no.
spookiness of phase 3 with the combined annoyance of Reflect, and you're like, stop it. Just get out of my way. Please stop being what you are. Yeah, I think he's 75% here from my speculation. So just enough to be annoying, but not full vanilla.
Oh, never like to see that.
Yeah, unfortunately making the same mistake Galvantula made, misjudging the timing there. Kaylee being faster than Jerkbird. Thankfully, we have full HP. We didn't get kicked in the face this time. But not having life, again, Fitz does not have life on Ben, so kind of hoping and praying here that Giant's Axe is going to carry him to victory. Unfortunately, not being the case. Going to go for a reset here.
I remember one time with Randomizer having Za roll the introductory Behemoth moveset. So it was Horn for days.
Oh, no. That horn scales pretty annoyingly with HP.
Yep,
So I
it
don't imagine that
was.
was a fun fight.
Yeah, it was like 500 or 600 ish hit every single turn.
That is.
And you're hoping
spooky.
he doesn't crit. I may have just cursed it. Sorry.
I mean, that is That is the kind of danger that we're running here.
Yep.
Not being able to get tier 4 Phoebe up, not taking tier 4 Ruben as an option here, not having life available. This is unfortunately a tough hurdle to make it over. But once it's made and you keep Kaylee up for Dark King, the rest of the fight is coasting.
I believe life was in Pyramid.
I believe so as well. Yeah, going for defensive threats here is a viable option, especially with Kaylee being your person that is keeping the party alive. Wakewater was in Libra Temple, or Life Temple, so behind White. In its vanilla location, you just had to use a Libra crest to get there, which I think was shuffled into the Aquaria vendor's basement. Kaylee getting low again. Thankfully, Kaylee outspeeding Jerkbird here. Back in the safety zone. Miss on an axe. Unfortunate. Yeah, this flag set was definitely a choice between a fast budget partner with all the tools you need to win, or a high class partner with a lot of immunities and safety blankets, but putting in a little bit more work.
And there we go.
There we go. And there's Zud down, moving on to King. Now, not free for phase 2 and 3. Specifically phase 2, we have Fire Breath to deal with. But if we can work around those phases, keep up the triage, make sure Kaylee doesn't get unceremoniously crit into oblivion, this should be a pretty free finish for Fitz, who honestly, for being a self-proclaimed baby Shrugger here, has put on a good showing. There's there's some room for improvement that we've speculated here from the commentators booth, but I think all in all, Fitz has got the basics down, and for a flag set this complex, deceptively so, putting on a good showing on, displaying their knowledge of the basics, getting through a lot of the formations, making use of defensive strats a lot of the times, like we saw earlier. So being able to puzzle out a lot of these tough situations that he's been put into, and honestly, shout outs to him for volunteering to be on stream for this. It really goes to show it's like we've had a wide breadth of experience coming into the Shrug to Speed program, and I applaud anybody who's brave enough to get up on stage and kind of show themselves off to the world and being able to race these kind of flags. And we are about to be joined in the booth areas. Hello, Mr. Galvantula. GG's.
Hello, thank you.
How did that feel? I mean, you came in a little over an hour. I feel like you were beating yourself up over a couple different decisions, but all in all, I mean, given the flag, the way that seed rolled, all in all, I feel like you put on a pretty good showing. How do you feel about how you did?
I actually feel amazing. From the first rough seeds that I had practicing at the start, getting like 110 to 130 of times, I have definitely improved. And this seed was actually one of the more fun ones I've had.
Well, good. I'm glad I rolled a pretty fun one. I looked at it on paper, and I rolled the seed, and I looked at the game info screen. I was like, yeah, this will be fine. I could get through it. This shouldn't be too much of a problem. You have you have decisions to make. There's 2 lockouts that are obviously like early game picks, but outside of that, they're not good for late game. And the rest is going to be exploration, getting lucky with your decisions, and just kind of making the right choices. I do want to applaud your quick pivot early on to grab Phoebe and make that check for her NPC check in Wintry Cave. That opened up the world to you much faster than we saw in Fitz's side. Fitz tried to struggle through Medusa early on a little bit and cost a bit of time. But and then remembered that Phoebe was available. It's like, oh, let's go grab Phoebe. And that really opened everything up to you.
Yeah, I was debating between actually taking Phoebe and not taking Phoebe, just because Tristram had that exit on 7. But I did not want to fight Medusa at all. This was going to be horrible at the start, so I just decided, you know what? Quick grab Phoebe, just do Wintry Cave, and it'll be done.
Yeah, Medusa's people fade Medusa, and for good reason. Like, you don't think of Medusa at first as being like a really tough enemy. It's like, oh, she's a mini boss. How bad could she be? But you go and you confront her. It's like, no, Medusa's just mean. She has a ton of HP. She's like 3/4 through the game, right before you go into Lava Dome and fight Hydra, who's no Field of Flowers himself. And with Randomizer can just roll absolutely terrible stuff with those 2 Cerberuses flanking her. So not a good fight. I'm glad you didn't have to suffer through it. So walk us through your kind of go mode conditions. Obviously, everybody started with go mode, but what was your comfort like tool set before you went and confronted King? Ooh, unfortunate. Saw Fitz take a dive there. Phase 2. Once we get through phase 2, this is pretty much coasting. So Fitz just has to make sure Kaylee stays up, and then he should be gold. But sorry, you were saying, Galvantula.
First of all, I'm rooting for Fizz. You can do it. Dark King phase 3 and 4 was suspiciously easier than 1 and 2.
Right, two is like the mean phase. I was looking at you do 3 and 4, and I was like, oh, this is fine. Like, there's nothing here outside of an AOE that you can't really deal with. Like, once you get through phase 2, 3 is coasting.
Yeah, definitely. No, but when I saw the quests and stuff, there were, I think, 2 routes I could have taken with Kaylee and with Ruben. Ruben just being the very quick one, just a crystal on Earth, and then all the other 3 things were nearly free. But I, for some reason, decided to actually go with Kaylee. I thought that the elixir was going to be easy after I noticed, oh, Spencer has the tree wither, but I never found Wakewater. So it was just stuck in that route, and then I was like, okay, just go Hydra, defeat that, and then just go 34 in. The refresher was actually hard to find. I didn't find a better farm than with Cage Temple.
I think the best farm we saw in the commentary booth was in a live forest. So as soon as you walk in, if you check the brown box north of the entrance, there was a refresher right there. So it was like a 20-step refresher cycle, which is not bad at all things considered. But other than that, I think honestly the one at Volcano was not a bad pick, and neither was which one did you do?
The one with the teleport pad in Cage Temple.
Yeah, Cage Temple, not too awful either. Both of those are about equidistant. The only thing that's annoying about Cage Temple into Treehouse is Treehouse and Cage Temple are technically on the same quote-unquote map set. So if you warp between them, it doesn't refresh the boxes, so you have to leave and come back in.
Sadly, I noticed that at first. I thought I could maybe just run into TP and back out again, but nope, didn't work.
Yeah, Aku chiming in here. Aku actually just opted to dupe them, which completely viable as well. I mean, if you just dupe refreshers, that's like what, a minute or two, and you have to do 20, maybe like 3 minutes max of duping if you could get it down to a good rhythm. I look over and Fitz is in the grace period. Here we go.
I believe you can do that.
Oh yeah, for sure. So in terms of your overall experience with the program, how do you feel about it? I mean, we're here at the end. You've gone through all 4 weeks. I've seen you participate pretty regularly. How'd you feel about it?
Um, Besides the week 2 where I just couldn't participate due to some family stuff, the week was perfect. It brought a good gradient between an early seed with nearly the least randomizations just to get someone into the door of a randomizer, to then this seed which by all in all just seems more chaotic than anything else. It was a great gradient to learn the randomizer, to learn each of the simple things, quests, spell books, crest warps as well, and just to get a good feeling. And I think it was, without a doubt, one of the best ones.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I put a lot of thought into like what could we cap off the event on, and obviously I could have gone like wilder with more randomizations and things like that, but I figured the whole point of the program was to help build y'all up and get you confident with the understandings of the randomizer. And I figured what better way to test that at the end than with a you start in go mode and you have to fish out your own gear to be confident enough to finish kind of flag set. I've done it once or twice on my own personal stream, but I feel like that is like the kind of ultimate knowledge check. Is like, okay, you're in go mode instantly. What do you need to finish? What tools do you think you're going to need to confidently take on Dark King? And y'all did a great showing of kind of showing your different decisions and the choices that you make in going to go grab all the different tool set. And I mean, seeing the times put out in the race time room, I'm glad to see the spread we have. I mean, 10 minutes between most everybody. Like I'm seeing 40, 48, and 50 being the closest. Noob Tree and Leaf putting on a great showcase tonight. By the way, GG's the Fitz finishing out with a 120.24. And that is everybody. Let's give us a huge shout outs to everybody who participated tonight. Folks on stream and off stream. We have Leaf, Noob Tree, Mr. Galvantula, Akahesh, and One Free Fits all finishing within, I would say, 30 minutes of each other, which is huge for new players. Let's be real. Like Fitz is self-admittedly a baby shrugger, not being able to fully participate in the full scope of the program and coming in with a little bit of practice and putting on the showing that he did on stream today, I think was fantastic. So we'll see if we can get him into the post-race interview here. Meanwhile, Galvantula, I want to ask, in terms of this flag for your practice, how essential was life for you? We saw Fitz go in without it. Was life on your list of items that you could not go to King without, or did you do a couple without having life?
I actually don't remember if I did any without life. It wasn't on my I need this to defeat the Dark King. It was more so trying to find those good wizard spells, especially either Flare, Meteor, or White, depending on what the randomization of resistances gave. But life wasn't really on my big to-do list. I tend to do well without having life myself, but that might just be me.
No, that's fair. I feel like life, as long as you understand kind of how defense works and you get a decent roll on your Randomizer attacks, you can do a lot of this without life. It'll be a little bit slower and you won't have as much of a comfort blanket. Like you won't be able to play as aggressively knowing that life, isn't there. But overall, I feel like, if you find life, it's great. If not, shrug. We'll just make do. Sometimes you just got to go in without life and just depend on your partner for backup, and you kind of play president strats.
I think what I actually thought to be more important is most of the time actually Cupid's Locket and or Gaia's armor with Apollo helmet, just because of those resistances to that boss.
Yeah, no, those are definitely some great pieces to get as well. And we are joined by Fitz. GG's Fitz, you did a great job on stream for being a self-quoted baby shrugger. Yeah, I think you did a good showcase tonight.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I didn't practice this week's flags at all. So I did read them.
Even better. Yeah, no, I mean, for not practicing, that's a respectable time, especially with some of the nastiness thrown your way. I would say, I was talking to Galvangela about some of the decisions made tonight. I mean, in terms of a flag set, in your opinion, how do you feel about starting with go mode and having to fish out all of the stuff that makes you comfortable to confront the final boss as a flag concept?
I think if I was more practiced, I would have a better sense of what powerful enough was. So I'm not really even sure if I was being too conservative or aggressive. I don't know. It was pretty. I had some pretty tough sort of end fights, so maybe I wasn't, and I didn't have a good, super well thought out plan kind of going in. I just kind of looked at the characters and was like, all right, who's got good magic? What quests don't seem like they're terrible? Then on Kaylee with Tristan early to do stuff. Really have enjoyed each week. This one was different with the internal dungeon room shuffle. That kind of breaks my brain a little bit, just because I'm not as familiar with the dungeons themselves. So
yeah, I feel like internal shuffle is right on the cusp of being whoa, what is happening, while also not being I need to take notes everywhere. There's only 2 locations that really make you feel that way, and everyone else is okay, I can work with this mostly.
I was like, this tower seems real confusing. We're not going to Bird Tower after that first trip. I kind of decided and then for the other ones, it was just in a couple cases, it made my decisions easier because I tried to go to, I think, Lava Dome, and it was oh, need a claw right away. So leave there. But I'll be curious to watch it back and kind of see what other on-stream runner did. But had a great time. I've been enjoying learning Quest Rando. So I'll be excited to do some more stuff.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing y'all more in the community Discord and, kind of take on the weekly flags and seeing y'all around. And I want to say, first and foremost, thank you both for volunteering to be on stream. I know it's not definitely sometimes not a comfort point, especially if you're learning something, to get on screen and showcase your skill set to the world. It's but I, applaud you both for doing it. And I think y'all did a fantastic showing tonight and kind of showed, that this is definitely an approachable randomizer, even as you get more into the difficult flag sets. And I feel like it could still be fun, even with the complexity that's been heaped onto it for week 4. So I did have a couple post-race interviews questions. Emil, really quick, did you have any questions for our runners?
Nothing that comes to mind. They've already answered the few interrogations I've had as they were going through their seeds.
Fair enough. So I did want to ask the same question to you, Fitz, really quick, that I asked to Galvantula. In terms of the 2 partner choices, what was the reasoning behind Kaylee versus Ruben in this particular flag set? Was it just that you felt like Kaylee was going to be overall better with her immunities, or did you just feel more comfortable doing her quests, or what made that decision for you?
I think it took me a while to actually locate where Ruben was, and then when I looked at their quests, because I figured I was gonna have to get him to 30 to really get that value, and it was battlefields. The mine visit was okay. Someone hiding, I wasn't sure would be, that I would get the crest very early. So it felt a little bit iffy versus the Kaylee stuff. It's well, if I hunt around, I'll then do.
Yeah,
at least 3 of her quests.
And honestly, finding Elixir right next to next to Tree Weather probably felt great. You're oh man, 2 for 1, let's go.
Yeah, that was nice.
Just so you know, Galvantula, Spencer handed out the Tree Weather, and then in the Venus key chest right next to him was the Elixir.
That just hurts knowing that. I ran to Hydra because I didn't find wave water anywhere.
So yeah, 2 very big points of divergence for you both to get your 34 Kaylee's. Galvantula fought his way to a dragon and out, and then Fitz, you You basically had to fish out Wake Water, and then once you did, you got your Kaylee online, and you're like, nope, we're not doing tier 4. In terms of, I mean, anything that you experienced during, sorry, what was your favorite setting during this entire program that you really liked messing with the randomizer fits?
I think that let me think about it. I really feel like getting the brown box shuffle in there certainly like step up. Like, okay, now this is getting more not complicated, but like complex in terms of outing and peeking and all of that stuff. And then I think opening up the companion like abilities and spell books, or I think when quests got introduced, makes it a little bit more, you know, nuanced than just like get Phoebe and then blow everything up with Phoebe. That was nice to lean on in the early weeks, but then getting used to kind of other characters. And although one week it was like level, you know, plus 10 Ben level, so like there really hasn't been anything that I was like even like the internal dungeon, like, oh well, at least it's just this dungeon and not like all of the dungeons, because that would have really been, I think, too much for newbie fits to puzzle.
Yeah, we shied away from that setting for the new player program. I mean, y'all are more than welcome to go off and explore everything shuffle. Now that you have completed the program, I give you my blessing on that. I recommend busting out a notepad for it, though. Galvantula, throw it over to you. What was your favorite setting that you kind of discovered through the new player program?
I think one of the settings was, I really like internal dungeon shuffle. Is just, I really like it just because of me being able, I know roughly how to go every time. Zeus Tower, Lava Dome just being the two dungeons that just really don't like being explored that much with internal dungeon shuffle. Resistance shuffle also is a great thing to help and actually learn what normal resistances the bosses have. Because I never actually knew that Dark King was resistant to earth, water, and air. I just always assumed, oh, fire is just the best because it does more damage. And not knowing, oh, you can't do the other things just because they are resistant. Brown box shuffle as well is very, very good. It helps you to learn also where the brown boxes are and not just run to each red box, open it, and go away again. Those are the ones that I really, really liked.
Fair enough. Well, if Emil doesn't have any questions for y'all, I think I will go ahead and throw it to both of you for final thoughts and shout outs. Again, as one of the co-founders of the program, I want to say first and foremost, thank you both for, again, volunteering to be restreamed, but just going through the program in general. I hope y'all had a good time. I hope everybody else had a good time. Leaf, Noob Tree, Akuhesh. I hope all of you had a great time going through the program, and everybody else who participated who's not in chat or on stream with us tonight. And I'm definitely looking forward to making some improvements and maybe a little bit of tuning for next year. And hopefully we have a big enough turnout to have sort of a formal tournament. But I'll be debating on whether to do a tournament, because I kind of like the comfy coziness of just having community races where it's kind of low stakes and chill, and we're just all kind of hanging out and commiserating over the misery that is what we just went through as a flag. But final thoughts, we'll throw it over to our first place stream finisher tonight, Galvantula. Any final thoughts or any shout outs you want to make before we give FFR their channel back tonight?
I have to give a big shout out to Leaf, actually. He has been one of the highest inspirations I had to actually pull through and actually practice a lot of this stuff. I think without Leaf, I would probably not have done that well or even performed this well. So I have to give a big shout out to Leaf here. Also, of course, a shout out to the booth Hebnix, and I have to turn off screen mode. Emeldas, Stunflash as well for tracking, and everyone else in the Discord. I have to give a great shout out to those as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Fitz, any final thoughts or shout outs?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for organizing this. Thanks to the companions for being available, like jumping in on streams and whatnot, given the tips. Shout out to a different new player program, but I know signups for the Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide Randomizer Google Cup, I believe, are still open. I think we're looking at like maybe January for kicking out.
Exciting.
Mentored new player events. So if you missed out on this one this time around, you want to learn a rando in the meantime, definitely head on over to that Discord and check it out. But yeah, just be on the lookout for the next sort of Mystic Quest event and try my hand at making it in a tournament and be getting a win. It's usually the
Awesome.
next
Well,
step.
Yeah, definitely. I look forward to seeing everybody who participated in the events, tournament showcases or marathon races or whatever y'all get up to. I hope this helped build everybody up in terms of their confidence of racing to be able to put on a good show for an audience, and to get themselves out there and get into events. And hopefully we can have some more community races and stuff stood up in the future for everybody. It seems like there's a really big interest in that outside of the weekly events. And I do want to say, if you're interested in playing the Mystic Quest Rando, you can join us over at ffmqrando.net. There you can find a link to our community Discord on the left-hand side menu. If you not sure where to start or how to get into it, join our community Discord. We have a new player room, talk in the general chat. All these new players here will be able to hopefully help you show the ropes, and we have a lot of our companions in there as well who can answer any sort of questions that we had for our Shruggers here during the program. I also do want to go ahead and shout out, like Fitz mentioned, our sister communities, World Collide, FF for All, Final Fantasy Randomizer, who graciously hosted us. Shout outs to Sunflash Rune for restreaming. I am terrible at it, and having someone do the technical stuff behind the scenes while I commentate is always a huge blessing. If you are interested in seeing any of these randomizers I just mentioned, make sure to check out the FFR Winter Marathon that is coming up in, less than 2 weeks now. It's like, a week and some change?
It starts on Thursday.
Yep, this Thursday. So check out FFR Prime. That's Final Fantasy Randomizer, all one word, on Twitch. If you want to see that marathon, I think all the randos are going to be there, from what I understand. Mystic Quest, Career Day, Worlds Collide, FFR, of course.
All the ones I'm aware of, although I'm not aware of all of them, I'll admit. But
yeah,
we've got a lot
all the
up.
big ones. So, and again, huge shout outs to everybody coming out tonight. My name is Hebbings. I've been joined in the booth by Amelides, which took the big leap and joined me on comms tonight. I am forever grateful for that. I can obviously talk myself blue in the face, but it's always nice to have someone to bounce off of in the booth.
It has been a pleasure.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and turn it back over to FFR. Thanks everybody so much for joining us. I hope y'all have a wonderful evening, and we'll see y'all next time. Take care.